It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are? We're getting suspicious. Well. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings for the 24th of September, 2025. Hockey 92.7 FM was second to join us. Neo Neon or Neo Nero, Laura Nero's son, was first out of the gate. We have artwork tonight. That is Althea. Althea is disillusioned about what's happened to our world. It's been overrun by haters. Karen Phillips, greetings, Jack and all. Teresa Williams, hello, Jack. Hey. Here is the accident-prone Adam Davidson, injured again. I don't know if we could list it all here, but I just saw your email, complete with bloody pictures. I always like bloody pictures. I am hopping along, but I'm here. Well, that's good. Pam, not Pam Donnelly. Hello, Jack, and chat from Northeast Indiana. Yeah. Hope you're having a good evening. Well, I did a little shopping earlier. Got me some more of those Atkins shakes and Karen a couple of things. And here we are. A little tired tonight, but not that bad. Usually when I come on, I start to be re-energized. Well, here's Pam Donnelly. Hi, Pam. Welcome to you. Already we've got 26 watching and 5 likes. Month is flying by, isn't it? September is flying by. Our title, Elvis, Priscilla book, Bob Joyce, link. But we can talk about any number of things too. It's not just that. What are your topics? What are your questions? Certainly Priscilla was talking about Elvis. I saw the extended CBS This Morning interview with a very good interviewer. Seems like a nice guy. He's going to stay away from some of those real tough questions, but Lee Cowan did a very good job. And so we'll talk a little bit about what she said there. That's what I saw. Maybe you saw something else because she's been making the rounds even on The View. She has her critics, that's for sure. And I was kind of surprised the first time we did a Scylla video and there was so many negative comments, But nevertheless, welcome. Many of you know I read the Elvis book by Albert Goldman many years ago. Big book, big hardcover book. And he was saying that when Priscilla got pregnant, Elvis sort of lost interest in having a relationship with her. Now, I'm not sure if that lasted just during the pregnancy or forever after. It's hard when you're trying to decipher where Priscilla is coming from because she definitely realizes she better not trash the king, but she wants to get a few explanations in for people that say negative things about her. Jay Pogera is here. Will we ever know the truth, Jack, or Jack the truth? Yeah, we can talk about that tonight. Elaine Peterson joins us. Hello, Elaine. She's saying hello to hockey. And so we'll talk a little bit about that. If I forget, you remind me, Jay Pogera. But with the Priscilla interview, Most of the book is about her post Elvis time, post married to Elvis time, the things that she went on to do, you know. Many know that she became an actress and she was in Dallas, which she loved. She was in the Naked Gun movie, had great things to say about Leslie Nielsen, how wonderful of a man he was. They had long conversations, and I wasn't surprised to hear a good report about Leslie because he seems like he would have been that kind of guy. He was a straight actor asked to do comedy, and he even told them when they called him in, his agent, and said, "You got to go try for this." And he said, "But I do drama. I don't do comedy." And then when he got to talk to the producers, he realized that what they were looking for, very similar to the movie Airplane, what they were looking for was actors known for doing dramatic acting that would now kind of spoof themselves, you know, would kind of spoof themselves. And uh, George, I was going to say George Papard because I always confuse those two, but Leslie Nielsen um, did that very well, as did Lloyd Bridges in Airplane. The first movie, he said, "I don't understand this picture." He kept saying that to his fellow actors. "I don't understand this picture." But of course, after it opened and it became number one for like 3 months at the box office, he was ready for the second one. You know, he had a better grasp on the character, and maybe he even overplayed it somewhat in the second movie. Hi, Brenda Sweeney. Hey, Jack and gang. Welcome. Teresa Pinnell is here. Good evening, you all. Joey Bauer Jr., straight from Reno, Nevada, where he played the Tea Leaf Room. And he knows how to read those tea leaves. I'll tell you what, he's better than Kreskin. Joey Bauer Jr., hey, brother Jack and family. Diane Thompson is here from Australia. Yeah, we seem to do okay in Australia. Here's Big Blaine Harrell, but he's not as big as he used to be. He lost some weight. Good for you, Blaine. I'm trying to do the same myself now. Hello, Jack. What do you think or thunk? Jack, do you believe that Priscilla should be buried at Graceland? Oh, yeah, that was brought up by Danny Smith. So embarrassing that I got that wrong last time. You know, that I thought that I was looking at the father and I was looking at the son, Danny Smith. The son is the Memphis Mafia kid. Makes sense when you think about it. All I had to do was read the description on the channel from the excerpt that I played on Saturday night show. That's all I had to do. So I beg your pardon. I never promised you a rose garden, but nevertheless, I should have gotten that right. I should have gotten that right. I'm not afraid to stand corrected. You know, I'm not afraid to learn. I'm not afraid to say, gee, maybe I'm doing something wrong and I could do better. But some people aren't like that. They just want to be boring until the end. They don't want to know what's going to happen if you continue down a certain road. They just want to go there and then be disillusioned that things aren't working out. Have at it, buddy. Have at it. I don't mind. When somebody that has been doing this longer than me gives me some tips. You know, you can learn a lot. Fancy Nancy DeMarco. Hi, Jack and friends. Welcome, welcome. Here's Belinda Taylor. Maybe we'll use one of your thumbnails, one of your pictures for our video, because she was over at the Household of Faith Church, the brand new one on Samples Road. I think that's her third visit to Household of Faith. And feel free to share anything here about your experience over at service a few weeks ago. So in terms of whether Priscilla should be buried at Graceland, I don't really have an opinion. I certainly don't have a strong opinion that she shouldn't. Um, you would think somewhere Vernon would have written those wishes down. That would be in a will or something, right? Who he wants buried at Graceland and who he didn't. So I don't know. It would be a family decision. It would be a family decision, I would say. Hey, Miles Wright, you're here as well. So watched Priscilla with Lee Cowan, CBS, this morning, and she went through her various acting career. She talked about the fact that she was often the only woman in the house, and all the rest was the Memphis Mafia, except she indicated that there may have been times when there were other women there. Now, she didn't say that Elvis was misbehaving, but she did indicate that members of the Memphis Mafia were cheating on their wives while she was in the building, while she was at Graceland. So I wonder what they have to say about that, you know. Very tempting time back then, you know. She didn't mention any names, of course, but she did say that. She did talk about feeling that she had to discover who she was, that there was, you know, obviously Elvis was away sometimes, and so there was a loneliness aspect to it. She did talk about Lisa Marie and how she's still not over it. He didn't ask her the questions that are in Beyond the Great Unknown, you know. He could have nailed her with a few questions about her boyfriend and the behavior of her boyfriend. Now, I didn't see this in the Lee Cowan interview, but apparently, she did say in an interview, and probably says in the book, in the Priscilla book, that Elvis called her once. This is after, I think, after they were separated. She wasn't at Graceland. I think this was after they had broken up, and she was in bed with Robert Kardashian, the father of all the Kardashian kids. And he passed away of cancer. He was one of OJ's lawyers. He was on the lawyer team, and he passed away at a fairly young age of what was it, colon cancer or prostate cancer? I can't remember which. Say hello to Jay Pogera. If Priscilla is buried at Graceland, does that mean her son gets a chance to be buried there too? See, it's starting to get crowded now. I don't know. Huh. Some may end up with a hot time for a long time. You never know what Neo is going to say. So let's play that little excerpt of Priscilla with Lee Cowan. What did people get wrong about her in the Priscilla movie? It was the question. What did they get wrong about Elvis? Let's listen to a fair use excerpt.
In what way do you think they got the man of Elvis wrong?
Gosh, Elvis was so outgoing and yet so private, and a lot of fun, a lot of laughter. He had the best laugh ever. I mean, when he started laughing, we all started laughing. We never knew what we were laughing about. So it was just watching him have a good time and laughing.
I think a lot of people see him as kind of this one-dimensional figure, and a lot of that surprised me in the book when you talk about what he was reading and how he read voraciously and talked about history and religion and everything.
Absolutely. He was captivated by religion and finding out, you know, he would read about Jesus and about what Jesus went through, being Jesus. Kind of related to that. I don't mean in any way that.
If you are sleeping in a position like this, you are wrecking your body and your breathing. Chronic neck pain happens when your cervical spine is repeatedly misaligned during sleep, creating.
He thought he was God.
God or Jesus, but reading the books and reading the Bible and reading how he suffered, meaning Jesus, he related to that in many ways.
Was that in an effort to kind of find a purpose for him?
I think, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, he'd preach the Bible. He would have the Bible and he would come out with stuff and read it, and we would all be there listening. And I mean, it was great for a while, but got to get a little boring.
We've heard this one.
But yeah, he'd have all of us gather and some fans that would come around. He'd bring in and start talking about the Bible and get up and have the Bible in his hands. I mean, you'd think he was preaching, but it was enjoyable.
Do you think that comes from his gospel
Yes.
days?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm. I do. In fact, in Memphis, many times on Sundays, because he couldn't go to church. Of course, it was all about Jesus, not him, he said. The fans are going to be coming out to see him. So we would watch through the windows. Yeah. The two of us standing, watching the prayer, watching, the people and how gross they were. And he was happy. In the South, people are very religious, much more so, I think, than here.
Yeah.
And everyone still goes to church, dresses up, women wear their hats. It's really, really nice to see.
There's a moment where you talk about you guys just standing outside a church and listening as they sang. I guess it was his favorite song, right?
That's right, yeah.
How great thou art.
How great thou art. Yeah.
And you remember that moment?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Well, we're like kids. We were like two kids looking in the window and listening to the preach and listening to the chorus.
He asked some good questions during this interview, and you can see it right here on YouTube, the extended interview with Priscilla Presley. In other words, more than you saw on CBS this morning, extra footage. And that's on the YouTube channel CBS Sunday Morning, and that's the Lee Cowan interview. So, for the most part, she kept it positive. She kept it positive. And in the Albert Goldman book, he was less positive, but seemed to tell a pretty accurate story. It's been so many years since I read that one. Hello, Brenda Noyce. Hello, Jack. Just got out of the hospital Tuesday. This week, they put 2 stents on my kidneys. Never heard of that one. Next Tuesday, back to the hospital, have kidney stone removed. Wow. And if Priscilla is buried at Graceland, we covered that one. Then there's the Bob Joyce link. Is there a link? Obviously, since 2018, we have certainly done more than infer. There has got to be a link. You remember the interview where she was with Oprah, and Priscilla said that she talked to Elvis just the other day. There's other things that have been said by other people. And obviously, when you look at Bob Joyce in his later years, you see in a very prominent way, you see Vernon Presley all over him, all over his face, The time when Vernon is kneeling down at the grave of Elvis Aaron Presley, it looks like it's Bob Joyce that's kneeling at that grave. So we've gone through the different stages of the story, the different oddities, and if you want to call them coincidences and what have you. There's just so many. But I'm constantly asking myself these days, is it not what we all think, that Pastor Bob Joyce is Elvis Presley? Is he Vernon's love child son, for example? Is he the love child son of Elvis Presley? I don't think so, because we have pictures of Pastor Bob Joyce where he just looks too old for that. And then, he's like a chameleon. He looks different. And then when you add the doppelgangers, that just confuses people even more. But there's always those who are emphatic that Bob Joyce is Elvis Presley. And when you listen to his voice, when you listen both his singing and talking voice, especially when you could say he doesn't have his guard up, like in the early days when he was pastoring, 2011, 2012, he didn't seem to worry too much about his either his talking voice or his singing voice. He didn't try to alter either one. I think he can alter it. I think he does alter it sometimes. But we are left here in 2025 still wondering. And so the question is posed, I think it was you, Jay, that said, will we ever know the truth? Will we ever know the truth? I think that the answer is yes. I think we'll have a step in that direction next month in Coleman, Alabama, when he does a full concert. There's no indication that it will be all gospel music. There's no indication. Doesn't mean it won't be, or some contemporary Christian music like he does to some degree on his CDs. But if he in the church is singing Elvis songs, what do you think is the odds that he's going to do a few Elvis songs at the Coleman, Alabama concert? I would say it's very, very great. I assume he's going to have a full band with him. They don't talk about that. He could possibly be singing the tracks. I have gone to concerts before, especially contemporary Christian singers like Carmen, I remember, and mostly the solo Christian acts, and they sang to tracks. They did. And I don't really have a problem with that. They're singing live. And it's going to be very interesting. I think he's kind of testing the waters right now. And I don't mean Jesse Waters. I think he's testing the waters to see what kind of reception he gets and what have you. Obviously, since the concert was sold out so fast with top tickets like a table of 8 for $2,000, including dinner and a meet and greet. Everybody gets dinner in Coleman, Alabama, but it's long sold out. And then they added another meet and greet the day before the concert on the Thursday, which they'll also have a reception with hors d'oeuvres and refreshments, that kind of thing, kind of a meet, greet, and chat with Pastor Bob Joyce. Maybe he'll pick up a guitar. Maybe he'll have a keyboard there and do a song or two. I think that would be really nice for the people that missed out on going to the concert but are still going to be in Coleman, Alabama. Does anybody know how many people have signed up for the Thursday meet and greet in Coleman, Alabama? Well, hello, Melissa VED. Welcome. It's been a while. Good evening to you and all. Faith Lloyd as well. Hi, Jack and everyone from Cincinnati. Hope Karen is feeling better and healing up. Hard to tell about the healing up. She's going to have an x-ray Friday, and then next Tuesday we go to Westchester Medical Center to see Dr. Kynan. She's still in pain. What can I tell you? Pain in the lower back, pain where they did the surgery. Does she feel a little bit better and stronger? I said, well, what about those rods that are in your back and the disc? Does that relieve some of the pain? And she kind of doesn't really give me a clear answer, although sometimes she says she does feel somewhat better. So we will see what happens. Hello, Robin Roman. Often you have more than one surgery when you have these kind of issues. I mean, it's looking like maybe they have to clean out the arthritis in her lower back, She just turned 68 years old, and that's younger than me because this coming spring, the first full day of spring, I will turn the big 7-0. And yet we were in the same class together. That happened when I failed second grade because I was in school in Montreal, Canada, came back here to the United States, to the Hudson Valley, into second grade by about February. Totally different, harder curriculum, if you can believe that, about second grade. I was lost, couldn't catch up, and they decided to keep me back. And I'm glad they did, because that's when I met Karen and Charlie and Keith and Michael Bianchi and Beverly Muir and Christine Bradford, and of course, Karen Reed. Karen Reed. Well, there's Todd Bradshaw, the Tennessee Titan himself. I just saw him, and now he's disappeared. Let me see here. Where are you, Todd? Are you a magician? Do you there you are. Hello, Jack. Good evening, all. Very nice artwork in the studio this evening. This is just something that's been around here forever. We thought maybe her daughter painted this, but even Karen doesn't know for sure. So, yeah, I thought that would look good on camera. So I'll go to the trouble of bringing an extra table behind me. And we have a nice new, it's a grocery bag from ShopRite. There's the back of a lady wearing her beautiful hat and her beautiful flowing dance gown and with the fall colors. And it's very, very pretty. So I like that. I like that a lot. And I just bought that, believe it or not, when I went down to get they had a deal on the Atkins shakes, 4-packs for $20. So that's a pretty good deal because they're usually $8.49 for 4. You can save a little money by buying them on Amazon, and it'll still be like $20 like I spent tonight. And I did get 12 shakes, but usually when you get the big box at the grocery store, it's 8 shakes. Well, 12 will last me for a little while. I like to start my day with a Atkins strawberry or milk chocolate shake, unless I'm all foggy in the head, a little stuffy, and that led to a dull headache. If you have a dull headache, what you do is you take 7 or 8 Tylenol, and you're good. That's the big thing now, Tylenol. Pregnant young girls defiantly swallowing God knows how many Tylenol. You just, you can't fix stupid. That's what Ron White said. There's amazing breakthroughs in hearing devices, colloquial implants. Is that what they call it? What Rush Limbaugh had? Ron goes through the whole list of all the new things they can do for you. He says, but you can't fix stupid. And we've seen that on full display, haven't we? I hope you watched the video on Jimmy Kimmel. I released it about almost 3 o'clock in the morning. Please check that out. The more views, the merrier. I don't know if we'll get to 1,000 on that. I know when I go out of the area. We did pick up a few, though, and they were all mean. All mean commenters, Don't let the facts that he's obviously clearly said that it was MAGA. They've got a million ways around it. So whatever, you're entitled to your opinion. And I try to explain that, no, you can't say whatever you want, especially on a broadcast station. And if you even here on YouTube, X, there's community guidelines. YouTube can swoop in and say to a programmer, especially, no, you can't do that. You can't do that. They can end your channel right there and there, or they can use it as a copyright strike. And you know what it is in baseball. It's the same thing here. And, you get to challenge it and everything like that. But you can't just say anything you want Trump has made millions of dollars between CBS and ABC alone by challenging what was blatantly incorrect information. Incorrect information. It doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to come on and complain about the president's policies and say the things you don't like about him. You can infer that he's on the Epstein list if you want to and all that. It's one thing to infer. It's another thing to blatantly state as fact. You can do all that. We don't want you to lose your right to free speech. As Ted Cruz said on his podcast, once that happens, it'll happen to conservatives too. It'll happen to conservatives too. But I found Jimmy Kimmel's mea culpa last night, which was viewed by over 6 million people, much bigger than his normal audience that is dropped tremendously, especially in the key demographic. I found his there was some good in there. You know, he made clear that it was not his intention to make light of the murder of a young man, Charlie Kirk. Well, he's only a few months left on his contract, so we'll see. We'll see if he's going to be picked up. But what happened with Bob Iger, the Disney CEO, is he got really nervous because a lot of people were canceling their Hulu, Disney Plus subscriptions. Well, you know, look how many he's lost with the decisions he's made through the conservative side by giving a middle finger to far more than half the country. You want to try to stay somewhere in the middle. You don't want to take a story like Snow White and turn it into a woke garbage. You don't allow your actress, you put this in the contract, that you will be sued if you go around and start bad-mouthing the movie. Or, first of all, if they had done the story properly, she couldn't have said the things she said. It's just ridiculous. Don't do Snow White if you want to turn it into woke garbage, you know. So I wonder how her career is going. Neo is continuing to be punny tonight, continuing to be punny. So, yeah, it is colorful, Todd Bradshaw, in the studio tonight. Got a little mix of everything here. And summer has returned pretty much. I don't know what the current temperature is. Let's see here. About 69 degrees right now. A little rain here and there. It was quite warm today. It'll be in the lower 70s tomorrow. It'll be near 80, if not 80, on Friday. Mid 70s on Saturday and Sunday with sunshine. We've had so many beautiful days. We've had so many beautiful days here in the Hudson Valley, you know. The prognostication was for a warm fall, and so far, so good. So far, so good. So when you're up here, this is kind of almost like an attic. The attic is above me, but it feels like that. You have to keep the air conditionings in longer. Eventually, you know, it's time to take them out. Brad had his taken out because he didn't want to pay for it. And I thought, well, at least he'll have his big fan on. But nope, it's stuffy down there. The windows are closed, and that's Brad. That's Brad. So, in terms of Priscilla, I know that there's people that don't like her at all, and there's people that are less likely to see her in a negative light. Sometimes they will give a pass to Elvis. They don't want to hear anything negative, and they'll be very hard on Priscilla. But certainly as you get to what was written about in the writings of Lisa Marie Presley, she didn't sit down to write a book. She was writing journal notes and things like that. And then Riley Keough, there are some unflattering things there. And then there's the whole sale of Graceland and the controversy that existed between Riley and her grandmother, Priscilla, at first. But I guess they got it all ironed out, and Riley does own Graceland, but Priscilla gets a payment. I wondered about how much the fact that she was going to get paid for this book would weigh in with Priscilla. What was that the motivation, that she needed the payday? Did she need the payday? Because I know she's had some rocky times before. Obviously, Kamala Harris is trying to build wealth, and she's certainly not going to do it by hitting the speaking circuit. She's not going to command $300,000-$500,000 a speech like Barack has done and what have you, and so many. Bill Clinton. I don't know about Hillary. I don't think she gets that much for sure. But since Kamala is not going to be able to do that with her word salads, she tries to say they weren't word salads when, of course, they were so often. And, you see her now on the circuit. So she decided, well, how am I going to get people to buy this book? Well, how was Mackenzie Phillips going to get anybody to buy her autobiography decades ago? How is anybody going to care? One Day at a Time has been off the air. Valerie Bertinelli was the fan choice and what have you. How is Mackenzie Phillips going to, daughter of John Phillips of the Mamas and the Papas, how is she going to get somebody to buy her book? And the way you do it is you say your father on a number of occasions had forcible sex with you, which he called, when she called him out, he said, "What do you mean, when we made love last night?" And whether any of that is true, we don't absolutely know, do we? We don't know. So that made that book a big seller. And so Kamala felt that she had to say some of those things. Why not at this point? There's no love lost between her and Jill Biden, but I'm far from a Jill Biden fan. She knew exactly the condition of her husband, and yet she pushed him through and was all ready for him to be the president of the United States a second time. And just before her debate, her vice presidential debate with J.D. Vance, Jill Biden called her up to yell at her. It's not exactly something you want to have happen when you're trying to focus for a debate, So I'm not a fan of any of them. I don't know about Dougie so much. He seems like a nice guy. I don't fault him for loving his wife, although that was quite a kiss he shared with Jill Biden. I think Jill is eager to hit the trail again before it's too late. She's eager to hit the trail again. So there's a lot of stuff in the Kamala book that would indicate that she felt so many people did her wrong, and she certainly doesn't talk too much about how she treated her own staff and what have you, trying to have a vocal coach that encouraged her to make grunting animal sounds as a voice exercise so they could make her sound more interesting. But it's not just the sound of the voice. I mean, her voice was okay. It was what was coming out of her mouth that would get her into trouble time and time again. 70 people watching right now. Hello, hello, hello. And look at that. Sammy hits the thanks button for $2.79. He's usually the first to do it. And he's talking about the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. Let's take a poll. How many watching out of the 71 people feel that Elvis Presley is still alive? Yes or no? Yes or no? Could you type that in and let me know? Here's D. Lyall saying good night to Brenda. Yeah, Brenda is just, she's got to get some rest. So we'll pray for you, Brenda. Thank you so much for dropping in. Well, we have Cheryl, and it's not our usual Cheryl. We've had 2 or 3. Cheryl Trotman is here. Hi, Cheryl. Welcome to Worldwide Ramblings. My name is Jack Willard. We usually do this on Wednesday and Saturday nights. And we're asking, do you believe Elvis is alive? Yes or no? And you've already registered your vote. You didn't even use your clicker to do it, like on the Jimmy Fallon charade. Yes. Todd Bradshaw says yes. Melissa VD says yes. Jody Smith says yes. Heather Feather from Montreal, Canada, not really, says yes. Lori Merrick, yes, yes, yes. Pam, not Pam Donnelly, says yes. Faith Lloyd, yes. Sam Sammy, a big yes. We've got 100% yes so far, gang. Let's see here. Beverly Chandler. Hi, Beverly. You're Frank's wife. I just assumed that. I could be totally wrong. Let me know. Yes. Karen Phillips, yes. Here's someone new. Hello, Edward. It's not Chorus. Chorus the third. I'm wanting to say chorus because I can't think of any other way to say it. The third. That means you're a millionaire, doesn't it? When you're the third, that means you come from a rich family. Like Thurston Howell. Was he the third? I think he was Thurston Howell the third from Gilligan's Island. Yes. Also, who else is voting here? Yes, Brenda wanted to get her vote. Yes, Elvis still here. Bye-bye, Jack. Yes, Elvis is surely alive, says Robin Roman. And there's a connection between Elvis and Arkansas through an honorary plaque. Tell us more. Alive, but not sure if he's if it's in heaven or Benton. Okay. Cheryl Tropman says, yes, I've been watching you live for a while. Love your videos. Thank you. Is this your first time at a live stream, or you just never talked before when we were live? And what corner of the world do you hang your bonnet in, Cheryl? Give me a general idea of where you're watching. David Tanner, Martial Arts, says, great show, Jack. I don't feel it. I feel like I'm struggling. I'll be honest with you. This topic is getting a little harder to do, because we're kind of in the waiting zone with Pastor Bob. I also don't want to bombard him. I want to be as positive as I can. Brenda Noyce really is not leaving. Thanks, Jack. Miss you and everyone. Well, I just hope your surgery goes very well to get that kidney stone out of there. Oh, boy. You've been through so much, and so has Adam Davidson. I wonder if Adam has checked out for the night. I'm just usually quiet from Maryland. Ah, yes. Beautiful state. Could use a better governor. At first, he seemed like a decent gentleman, and now he's anything but a gentleman. That's too bad. I've never believed he died in the first place, says Pam Donnelly. So as I guess I would be able to guess, most of my audience thinks Elvis is alive. And I'm going to go way out on a limb and say most of you here believe Pastor Bob Joyce is Elvis Presley. Is that a correct statement? We start after Elaine Peterson said, hi, Jackie, with the new responses. If you so wish, if you so wish. Faith is saying affirmative. Yes. D. Lyall is always a possibility. I like that. I speak of possibilities, and I could be wrong about the whole thing. All right, Todd Bradshaw. Yes, yes to you. I was never quite sure how exactly you felt, and now I know. Teresa Lee Leonard, yes. Laurie Merrick, yes, correct. Jackie Organ is here. Hi, Jack, and everyone from Australia. We've been asking people, and we have another person here from Australia tonight so far. Do you believe Elvis is still alive? And the second question, so it could be yes, yes, or just one yes. Do you believe Bob Joyce is Elvis? Do you believe Bob Joyce is Elvis? Jane Justice, really running late tonight, Jack. How are you and everyone? Well, I'm getting perked up now. I was a little bit tired when I came on tonight. Um, but you guys always perk me up. So we're asking, do you believe, Jane Justice, that Elvis is alive? Do you believe that Elvis is Bob Joyce? Yes, and yes if you believe both, or no, or yes and no. It could be one of the three, I suppose, or none of your beeswax. That could be another one. Yes, he is for sure. Same physical movements. I thought you were going to say scars and veins and stuff. Yeah. Pastor King, Bob Elvis, says Neo. Well, remember, if he's a pastor, he wants to point you to the King of Kings and Lord of Lords, Jesus Christ. Miles Wright thinks Bob Joyce is Elvis, as does Brenda Sweeney. Darlene, hi, Jack and all. Hello, Darlene Koberstein. What's been going on with you? How you been feeling? Our question is, do you believe Elvis is alive? That would be yes, number one, or no, number one. And do you think Pastor Bob Joyce is Elvis? Yes or no? So we have to say yes, yes, or yes, no, or however you want to put it. Don't let me lead you on. Oh, dear. Yes, I do, says Jane Justice. When you know, you know. Robin Roman, yes, Bob Joyce is Elvis. Hi there. Elaine Peterson, says Jackie Organ. Yes, Elaine is with us. And my goodness, Sammy, he's the encourager. He's hitting the thanks button again, which you should find down there. I didn't find it in my other video that I released this morning on Jimmy Kimmel. I didn't see the thanks button there. When that happens and you'd like to hit it, you can always go to another video, even a live video. Just hit the live section of this channel, the Virtual Church of the Disillusioned, and you'll find the thanks button there. It all goes into the same pot. So thank you, Sammy, for $2.79 and $6.99 on the thanks button here as we try to play catch up for the month of September. Last month was the best month of the year. We're about a third where we were, and it's already the 24th. Can you believe how fast September has gone? We're now officially into fall. And we're only about a third of my very small, meager budget as we were last year. And sometimes a portion of that certainly is made up in Cash App. I want to have full disclosure here. Sometimes it's made up in Cash App somewhat. But wow, last year was, I keep saying last year, last month was just, an unexpected blessing. The last of the summer months, really. And then this month it's been a struggle. So if you can hit the thanks button for any amount, never think, oh, well, I can only do 99 cents or $1.99. That's fine. That's fine. As I go to the Cash App, I have to thank Elaine Peterson for hitting the Cash App for $10. Thank you very much, Elaine Peterson. She's very faithful with that. And not that you have to be, it's not an expectation. Just to do what you can when you can. No amount is too small. No amount is too large. That would certainly, for the people that have been watching me for years and you've been so blessed by God, that would take off some of the stress. My Cash App handle, only going to say it this one time here, lowercase letters, Media Guy 56. MEDIAGUY. The number is 56. Lowercase letters. Media Guy 56. I get more of it when you hit Cash App, but I'm very thankful to Google for the thanks button. Very thankful to Google/YouTube for giving me that. So thank you, Elaine, for $10 on the Cash App. So Adam Davidson writes me and he says, when it rains, it pours. New 5 staples next to the old wound where 7 staples just got out. And then there was the head wound with like a lemon-sized knot on his head from falling. And he's a young guy, but he's got a number of issues. So pray for Adam Davidson. Pray for Adam Davidson. Just looking down at the emails here. We thank from the last show, Nanette, for hitting the Cash App. And also Tim Spencer recently. Tim Spencer. So there you go. Let's look at our video here. Video that I hope you'll watch. Jimmy Kimmel still doesn't get it. I recorded that and put it out at 3 o'clock in the morning. Yes, we have. Oh, I'm trying to watch a still shot of myself instead of the live. We have in the studio now. We have Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk. I'll bring that closer at some point so you can see it. And I'd like to get something much nicer than that. Much nicer than that of Charlie Kirk. What a difference he made. What a difference he made in this world. A martyr for Jesus now. And I could not believe the vigils in Ireland and all these places. I didn't even know he was known there, I don't know that he did a lot of national TV that would get to places in Ireland and what have you. Miles Wright, $9.99 on the thanks button. Well, thank you, buddy. Thank you very much, Miles Wright. I appreciate that so much. That's not the first time Miles or certainly Sammy has done that. Not at all. So everybody's chatting amongst themselves. I Googled John Burroughs, spelled the correct way, Jon. This is supposedly the name Elvis used. Jon, John, as in short for Jonathan, Burroughs, Burrows. Simi Valley, California, I got an obituary. Yeah, well, how old was he? That's a good question. How old was he? John Burroughs is the name that Phil Aitchison put in the Phil Aitchison report when he did on an investigation to see if Elvis faked his death back not too long after the alleged passing of Elvis Presley. And it was supposedly that some people feel John Burroughs was the name he used when he went into the witness protection program. It was the name he used to travel. And also often when he was back in the States, he would sign in to a hotel with some of the Memphis Mafia with him under the name John Burroughs. D. Lyall is explaining something about what you have to add to that search. That's my middle name, Jonathan. Cool. I do not hear it often, only when that's when you get the middle name. Just like Lisa Marie, Elvis would say when he was mad, Lisa Marie. Todd Jonathan doesn't have quite the same ring. But I know what you mean. That's when you hear your full name. I do not hear it often, only when I was in trouble when I was a lad. A lad. Oh, to be a lad again, huh? Yes, wearing those pedal pushers, riding the bike. Some people still ride a bike and do a video while they're doing it. 81 watching right now to Worldwide Ramblings. We're voting on whether you believe Elvis is alive. That would be 1 yes or 1 no. New people, sign in and give us your vote. I wish I was adding it up, but I didn't think to do that. That would be distracting. And then, do you believe Bob? If you do believe Elvis is alive, is Bob Joyce Elvis? Is Bob Joyce Elvis? What say you, people that haven't registered your vote? John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. His name is my name, too. Whenever we go out, the people always shout, there goes John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt. Yeah. Jack, what is your vote? Very good, Melissa VD. And by the way, a little penicillin will clear that right up. I'm just joking, Melissa. I'm just joking. I'm allergic to penicillin, or at least I was in the 60s. Yes, I'm changing the topic, Melissa VD. I broke out in some kind of a rash in Danbury, Connecticut when I had this lump removed from my neck in early 1964, right after Christmas time, when my parents reunited in Montreal, and he bought a house for us here in the Hudson Valley. We returned, thank God. They gave me penicillin, and I think I broke out into a rash. So all these years, are you allergic to anything? All these years I've been saying penicillin when I'm not really sure, but why have a bad experience, Why have a bad experience? I've seen enough evidence, Melissa, to feel that Elvis Presley is still alive, but I'm not 100% sure about it. I'm not 100% sure about it. I lean in that direction, just like I lean in the direction that Pastor Bob Joyce is Elvis. But if it turned out to be Vernon's love child with another maybe dark-haired woman right after the passing of perhaps of Elvis's mother, Grace, well, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked, but it is just too close, isn't it? The similarities are just too close. Donna Starkey, Bob Joyce is Elvis. All right, see? I thought this was my core audience's belief. I did. So if you haven't signed in, sign in under any name. You can be John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt if you want. If you want to type all that out, feel free. I would go with just John Smith or Nancy Jones or something like that. I've known a Nancy Jones. She was in our class. You have a Charlie pick in email if it went through. A Charlie pick, yeah. It'd be nice if you could create something really special on that, Neo. That would be beautiful, but I'm going to look and see. Maybe I'll switch in the Charlie Kirk video. I'll switch that thumbnail. So let's see here. Just sent it, did you? Because you got Kermit. Oh, I see it now. Okay, I just clicked on number 1, sitting in his chair, but in my studio. Very, very good. It's a nice picture of him too. It's a nice picture. Wow. It's just powerful. Is that the authentic picture of him in the coffin that we're seeing online? Because in these AI times, I just don't know. They put a white bandage around his neck. He looks so good. He looked like he was just napping. So I'm never sure what I'm looking at anymore. And, you see all these phony baloney tributes from Billy Joel and everybody to Charlie Kirk. They're all fake. They're all fake. You just don't know anymore what you're looking at. And that's dangerous. That's dangerous. There's Kermit the Frog. We'll eventually show you this. I don't think they would mind us showing Kermit. I do it in a pre-recorded video instead of trying to get it on live. But excellent work, Neo Neon. I like that very much. So let me go back to my first screen there. So Jimmy Kimmel still doesn't get it is the video that I'm hoping you will watch if you haven't watched it already. It's up to 383 views right now. And let's see here. Well, let's see what some of the comments were.
Don't spend.
Don't spend. Don't spend. I try not to spend. I'm always trying to... In terms of the Jimmy Kimmel video, Helen McDonald from Australia says, we have exactly the same problems here in Australia regarding people with mental illness. Institutions for them closed. They're out in the community, but don't take their meds and causing much trouble. Exactly what's happening here in America. And they're becoming increasingly aggressive and more likely to be killers. Sometimes they're put up to it. We heard from Jupiter's Realm in this video. Scott Smith says, man, please, he can say what he wants to. MAGA lies all the time and puts out untrue statements. Well, you know, we'd have to go through each and every statement. What I was saying, Scott Smith, is that when you're on a broadcast station under FCC control, it's always been that way. You can't make blatantly false statements. You can't come out and say MAGA, that this shooter was MAGA, when there was already plenty of information to indicate that no, he wasn't. You just have to look at what was written on the unused gun casings and what was said in his family gathering with his uncle and father and what have you. They believed Charlie Kirk was a threat. So we heard from John Prince asking me, how much Tylenol did your mother mainline? Hey, I wanted to reach new people in the video. We reached a few. They just weren't the right few. Jimmy Kimmel is the greatest. Oh, yes. What he said was 100% true. What are you going to do with that, you know? Richie would agree with you. Nancy Whitmore said, hi, Jack. What Jimmy said was uncalled for, but as Christians, we are called to forgive him as well. I hope he has learned a lesson. Well, if you listen to his comments, I don't know how much of a lesson he's learned. There was some humanity shown. There was some partial apology made, but I was wrong to say that he was MAGA. I apologize for that. Those words did not come out of his mouth. But no, I'm not holding any grudges or unforgiveness towards Jimmy Kimmel. But I'm explaining that when you're under the supervision of the FCC as a broadcast station, you can be, the station can lose its license for putting out false content like that. Here on YouTube, X, there are platform rules that you must follow. So there's a governing body, no matter what. They're not just going to let you come on and say, you know, that the greatest hero of all times was you-know-who from Germany. They're not going to let you do that for long anyway. Katina Swatsworth said, that was a great video, Jack. I agree. I'll see you tonight, probably after I get Katrisa to bed. She'll pop on for a few minutes. We pray for Karen's healing. And anyone on here that needs to be healed in the name of Jesus, by his sacrifice, we are healed. We will never leave. He will never leave or forsake us. Amen. Susan Carter checked in. Hello, Miss Carter. He is a disgrace. Stephen Baker has it backwards as to what actually happened, what Jimmy actually said, in my opinion. People confuse the First Amendment with broadcast rules. The governing body of the FCC. Four people responded to that. So at least we started some dialogue. At least we started some dialogue on that. You're not going to change the opinion most times. I understand that. Other videos that are up here with 3,600 views. Bob Joyce, the proof is in the skin. Some close-up photos of Pastor Bob Joyce's skin. Could it be the skin of a 90-year-old? So that's one video. Breaking empty seats at Bob Joyce's church, up to 1,700 views. We did that about a week ago. Check that video out. Empty seats at the new sanctuary, the new Bob Joyce church on Samples Road. I'm sure, as I made clear, it's just a temporary thing. What was the seating for, what was the total for this past Sunday? Anybody know? Let's just quickly go to bobjoyce.org and see if there's anything I should know about. What happened to the Matt Joyce Elvis tribute show once a month? Has anybody heard about that? Keeping in Step. That's the title of the sermon that he preached this past Sunday. Pastor's looking fit and trim. Funny that he's sitting down as they took a shot where he's sitting down to promo the sermon, Keeping in Step. Pastor Bob has placed a note. They still haven't changed the wording here. On the door of the old church, Household of Faith worship service is now at 8408 Samples Road in Benton, Arkansas. It's really just outside of Benton, I believe. Sunday at 10 a.m. Yeah. So get there early. The gates open for the cars to get in at 7:30. And at 9 a.m., the doors to the church open. Although there have been some open seats so far, about 255 seats now in the new building. Don't take that for granted. If you're coming a long way, I would suggest you be on that line at 7:30 in the morning as they open the gates. Pull in, get out of the car, and stand on line. That would be my suggestion to you. Hopefully, it won't be 5 degrees with a fierce wind blowing or, just raining very hard. And they talk about the Coleman, Alabama concert. And then they go into all the Bob Joyce does not things, like he is not having a conversation with you on Facebook or on private email, what have you. Although there are mentally ill people out there who think they are having a conversation with him. Doesn't mean he's never had a conversation, but for the most part, Yes, he was sitting on a step. They built very nice steps to the altar at the new church, the horse barn that almost was. It was ready for a horse barn, but it never happened. And then they began to take out the stalls and build what is now the new sanctuary of Household of Faith. I kind of feel this is going to be the church. I don't know that the big church is going to be built. Right now, it wouldn't make sense. We'll see how this goes. Yeah, I've been hearing a lot about that, D. Lyle, that Johnny Carson refused to use his stage as a platform for political reasons. He thought that was dangerous, that it made the host opinion too important. When your late night talk show starts to sound like an infomercial for the DNC or the progressive wing of the party, you know something has gone wrong. It's supposed to be an entertainment show, and it's very hard to sell those because you're alienating more than half the country. I say more than half the country because I think the progressives are doing such a wonderful job in destroying their own message and destroying the old school Democrats right along with them that are basically going to be retiring anyway. Question for the group from Todd Bradshaw, the Tennessee Titan. Did you all get flooded with YouTube suggestions over the last week from various sources that the rapture was going to happen today? That's right. I forgot about it. It was going to happen either yesterday or today. And once again, the date picker was wrong. Gee, I'm surprised I forgot about that, Todd. Wasn't it supposed to be like 11 o'clock this morning? I was up by then. I want to be up for the rapture, you know. I don't want to be sleeping at the time. The scripture says, don't be caught sleeping, you know. Well, now it's the 24th, right? Yeah. Note the false prophets moving forward. You're so right about that. No man knows the day or the hour. The general time frame? Yes. But it's really hard even there with our limited knowledge to figure how far in we are. In other words, are we already in the pre-trib? I would say yes. We're in the pre-trib, but what do I know? I'm just a singer in a rock and roll band. All right, I'm not really a singer, and I don't play any instruments. You think a lot of stuff, Jody, in the Priscilla book is fake? It is getting some attention, and of course, everybody wants to interview her. As once again, she uses Elvis to hit the limelight. Carolyn Mullins, good evening. Pastor Bob is not on any form of social media. Also, I have never seen Willina in the audience at any service. Does she attend in her as the pastor's wife? Well, he sang songs. Want to sing Can't Help Falling in Love to My Wife, and we see her sitting right there. That was after a church luncheon. What I was told by somebody that was just here a little bit ago, and I'm not saying you have to acknowledge what you told me, but I was told that Miss Willina comes in just before the service starts to her reserved chair in the front and then leaves about 10 minutes before the service ends. She doesn't want the questions. It's not that she doesn't like the people or is antisocial, but she doesn't want the questions. She doesn't want the questions. So that's one of the grayest areas of the story. Is Willina married? He doesn't wear a wedding ring. Well, I didn't wear a wedding ring most of the time. You know, I was going to do a joke there, but I'm just not a jewelry person per se. Didn't like to wear a watch, you know, only did when I had to. I didn't have a Rolex, so I didn't really have a great watch to show off. Yes, Willina is there every week. I and others have seen her. She sits in the middle with the bodyguards, says Nancy DeMarco. Yeah, the bodyguards. I bet you the Methodist preacher in downtown Benton has bodyguards too. Isn't this normal? More and more preachers, especially high-profile preachers, have armed security, for sure. For sure. Brought to you by Pfizer. Follow the money, says Melissa VD. Only God knows, says D. Lyle. Not flooded, but we did see videos making fun of it. People will make fun of anything these days. Here's Katina Swatsworth. Yes, Todd, that's all I saw. Jesus said, no one knows, only the Father. I never listened to the date setters. Exactly. So, Todd says, I get very frustrated with these AI-generated religious videos by the author or self-generated. It's dangerous stuff. Yeah, and we're just at the beginning, the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. Darlene is speaking to Nancy. $73 watching right now. 73 watching. Carol Cook is in Canada. What's going on in Canada? Nice and warm there like it is here, Carol? It's 69 degrees right now. Much warmer than it was a week or so ago. I was almost ready to put the heat on. Started putting extra blankets on the bed. I'm not going to put the heat on now. But I thought about it. And I think we're going to have, hopefully a very nice October. That's when we get a lot of the Oktoberfest, like October 12th. Jimmy Sturr will be this year in Pine Island, New York, where we've been twice this year at the Polish club, the PLAV Pavilion. But it'll become a German club that day. There'll be a 10-piece German band there. And also, of course, headlining Jimmy Sturr and the orchestra. Can they do German music? Yes, they can do anything. There'll be great food, ethnic food, both Polish and German. And there'll be those ladies' desserts. Oh, I better be a good boy till then. But they haven't been making that chocolate cream pie last few times. So that'll be great. It's on the Pulaski Highway in Pine Island, New York, which would be about an hour and 30 minutes outside of New York City. Yes. Always a good time with Jimmy Sturr and the orchestra. Texas people, he's coming to Worst Fest, as he does every year. Worst Fest, all 4 days. So, well, he's doing 4 days. I guess there's more than 4 days. It's a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday that he does. And that's in New Braunfels, Texas. So Jimmy Sturr, and then the big sold-out cruise in January. This time they're going to Aruba will be the big destination in the cruise, and they're doing Aruba in 2027. Now, he just tomorrow is Jimmy Sturr's birthday. Tomorrow, the 25th, Jimmy Sturr will be 80. Yeah, that old. And he is still going strong. So try to answer your question, Pam Donnelly. I think so. But sometimes I have my doubts. That's right, Neo. 2 affiliate groups, Sinclair and how you say Next Star, whatever it's called, refusing to air Jimmy Sturr. They weren't happy with his apology and what have you. They certainly weren't happy with the first thing he said. They remember it. So it'll be hard-pressed for him to get renewed. But today, one of the weapons of the progressives is they just try to cancel everyone who disagrees with them. And then they of course, now are taking it up a notch to violence, So are we on the verge of a civil war? Interesting question. Also of note, go down here to the end. President Trump has completely changed his view concerning the Ukraine war. He says now that, yes, they should shoot down a Russian plane that invades Ukrainian airspace. He seems to think that Ukraine could win back all their land. He's very upset with Vladimir Putin. And I just feel like I did before. Russia has the best nukes. They could end the world if they wanted to. We would not be able to stop them. And I can't say I've come to that thinking. Most of the Ukraine is a bombed out shell. Who's to stop Vladimir Putin from bombing it all over again down the road? Because it seems like he's going to be around forever, Try to figure that out. Cousins live off of Elvis on YouTube. No one knew Elvis like Priscilla. She actually stepped in and saved Graceland for Lisa. EP would be proud. She has had so much heartache and she is lonely. Okay, so we got a pro Priscilla. I don't get a lot of them, surprisingly, Carolyn. For some reason, it was surprising to me the first time I did a Priscilla video and got so much negative feedback. So you'll get it here too, apparently. Yeah, Carolyn. There's not a lot of love for Priscilla most times, but I'm sure that, there's always two sides to every story. Jack, it's fairly warm here, says Carol Cook, with some rain. Do you ever wonder if Elvis Presley's family watches Bob Joyce's sermons? Sure, I guess I've wondered that. I'm sure they did. But mum's the word. Hush, hush, mush, mush. Jody says, Jack, maybe the relationship between Pastor Bob and Welina is the same kind of relationship that you and Karen have. Whoa. Well, then what about Robert Wayne Joyce? Did they get a divorce? Is he dead? What's the story with Robert Wayne Joyce, who married Welina Hattie in 1975? Remember when Greg Pritchard went to the house of Bob Joyce, he went to a small house and it looked to be a different man, although not everybody would agree with me on that. Robert Wayne Joyce was there, but Welina answered the door and there was a barking dog. And so what's the deal with that? I mean, just because they go to Mar-a-Lago together doesn't mean they sleep in the same bedroom when they're there. That's how complicated this story is. Karen and I do sleep in the same room when we travel, but and I'm welcome to stay over there. But this used to be Andy's room. Originally, it was Karen's parents' room. It's the biggest room in the house. But now with the need for space for the YouTube studio, wouldn't fit in Karen's tiny bedroom or Andy's tiny bedroom. I mean, I could put the studio in there, but it's as dismal can be. Karen occasionally stays over here, but really it's only when we travel do we stay in the same room. And do I like that situation? Am I happy with it? No, I'm sick of it. Really. You know, it's it's one of the things that I don't like about this setup. Just one of the things I don't like. But I remember to count my blessings too. I count my blessings too. And anytime I want to go over there and sleep overnight, I am certainly welcome to do it. So, so that's where we're at. That's where we're at. I'm only guessing about this relationship. I'm only guessing about the relationship between Pastor Bob Joyce and Willina. We've obviously heard about a bigger house. Somewhere I have those pictures. Every time I find them, I decide not to show them, of a 2-story house. Maybe you've seen that with a black gate around it and a big black gates in the front, which is often open. And there you see a big black SUV like the one you saw at Graceland, etc., etc. How could there be this many coincidences, oddities, unexplainable things? I mean, we're going to have to get William Shatner involved here. We'd have to get William Shatner because just might be he's missing a hell of a story. Hate to put it that way. He's missing a heavenly story. And the Tennessee Titan, Todd Bradshaw, hits the Cash App for the Collinwood cast, A Long Shadow. Oh, Collinwood. Yes. Every night we watch a little Collinwood. We didn't watch any tonight, but most nights we do. Collinwood was in the fictitious Collinwood was in the fictitious Collinsport, Maine. Everything was named for the Collins family in Dark Shadows. And Todd hits the Cash App for $100. Todd, you have been the Titan. You're the Titan for more than one reason. Because you're obviously a solid, good man, just like Elaine Peterson is a solid, good woman. And then there are just my loyal, devoted people that maybe can't do it. And I appreciate you viewing. You help me with the views. I don't want to be in a small room talking to myself. I want to think that we're reaching people. And so I thank you whether you hit the Cash App and thanks button or you don't. I want to make that clear. But thank you, Todd Bradshaw, for that very, very much. And thank you, Elaine Peterson, as well. When I mention Cash App, I do give the handle out. If you have Cash App and can make a donation, and you can always tell me in a separate email or even in the heading, don't say, and I'll know. I'll just use your first name maybe, and I won't say the rest. I'll know what that means because there's room for a message in Cash App, but I only see the first few words. So just say, don't say, and I'll know that'll mean you don't want me giving the full information. Media Guy 56, lowercase letters. If you have the Cash App handle, which you load through the Google Play Store, you have to use your checking account routing number. You can use it for so many things, including paying bills, including receiving money for yourself, whatever you want to do. They have more and more things that you can use Cash App for, including possibly a loan. So it's found in the Google Play Store. It's green with a $sign, Cash App. Media Guy 56. Thank you so much, Todd Bradshaw. Thank you. Sometimes I want to live in Collinwood. But Collinwood has long since been destroyed because it was at the corner of 53rd and 8th in New York City. Thank you, Elaine. So there you go. Is Tucker live right now? Is he? The end of free speech is his live stream. That's the start of the show. Some of the programs begin with anticipatory music, you know. Ever since Tucker has been off of Fox, you know, he gets heavier into conspiracies, talks a lot about 9/11. He talks about January 6th. He talks about the Palestinian situation, the Gaza situation, and what have you. Yeah. They have a long lead-in. Waiting for the audience to make the popcorn and pour a drink. And he's playing they're talking about some conspiracies going on with Charlie Kirk. There's one of the liberal members of the Senate. I'm not going to play him. I was hoping for some wisdom from Tucker Carlson quickly. Boy, they can make a conspiracy out of anything. Good night, Katina Swatsworth. I hope Catrice is okay. And your husband, Chris. And God bless you all. God bless you all. Jody Smith talking to Jackie Organ. Jody thinks Pastor Bob may be starting to let the cat out of the bag. Certainly live concerts could affirm that. I don't expect any big announcements in Coleman, Alabama, of course. Check out Peyton Manning and the King of Rock and Roll for the Elvis Arkansas connection. What the heck does that? How do we get Peyton Manning into that? Tell me, Delisle. Huh. Are you saying that as your parting words for tonight? He did use Robert Wayne Joyce more in the beginning, says Jackie. Well, all I know is when I look at younger Bob Joyce, 2011, 2012, and I look in his eyes, I'm not seeing the eyes of someone that we saw back in the late 70s that was calling himself Robert Wayne Joyce. You don't transform from looking like that to looking just like Elvis Presley in 2011. Not the same guy I would feel. I would be very, very sure about that. But still, I speak of possibilities, and I could be wrong. Peyton Manning goes to Graceland, huh? I'll have to look that up. And Hockey 92 hits the thanks button for $19.99. Thank you so much, Hockey 1992 and $19.99 on the thanks button. I appreciate that, Hockey. Another person who is very faithful, part of the cornerstone, you might say, the cornerstone that helps me make that meager budget every month, and I appreciate that very, very much. Rocky Mountain Red Wing. Someone said Elvis signed a picture in the 50s, Bob Joyce. I've heard 60s. We did show something, but you know, those somebody said things. It's hard to do much with it. Hard to do much with it, and you could be spot on, but it's still hard for me to know what to do with that. Love you, Jack, from all of us. Well, thank you very much, Todd. You're a fine, decent man that has been an encouragement to me. One of the last things that Todd said to me last week, because I could think he could sense that, it's a kind of time of struggling between what's happening with Charlie. I mean, there's before Charlie Kirk was murdered, and there's after he was murdered, and it impacted us all. And well, I can't say all, but it impacted many of us. And so you don't really feel like, doing a Bob Joyce topic as much as you used to. I have no problem, though, as the chronological storyteller telling new information. I just don't want to try to find clever tricks to get an audience, clever tricks, because I'm very well aware that when I don't put Bob Joyce in the title, that it's going to be a challenge to even get to 1,000 views. And I've got to have something genuinely really hot to have multiple thousands of views, like wild new Bob Joyce video. Let's see here. We'll go to videos in my channel, The Virtual Church of the Disillusioned, Depressed, and Downtrodden. That's the full title. And Jimmy Kimmel video that I did this morning is now up to 406 hits. Please watch it, everybody. We'll go down a little further. Is Elvis about to do his first concert in 48 years? That's got 8,200 views. I knew that was a good title. I knew it was. Sometimes you just know. However, the video about Charlie Rose with a thumbnail of Nora O'Donnell spanking her own bottom. They all sold Charlie Rose out so quick, and then you watch old footage and they're making very suggestive comments, leading Charlie on. It's like encouraging him to say the bad thing. That's what Melania said about, at that time with Billy Bush, when they were on a hot mic and Trump didn't know it, and he was saying, you can grab them and everything. She said she felt Billy Bush was leading. I don't think he hadn't been elected president 45 at that point. She was leading him into saying the bad thing. So Melania, the most beautiful first lady we've ever had, who knows how to not fall down when a escalator suddenly comes to a sudden stop. Big Melania fan. So that didn't do too well, but Bob Joyce Spotlight concert almost sold out, 3,700 views. It is sold out now in Coleman, Alabama. We're waiting now to see where the next concert, will be. There you are, Belinda Taylor in the first video, 3,300 view. It's Belinda Taylor's, I think it was really her second visit to Household of Faith, told in the video, Big Adventure, Bob Joyce Church. We talked about the Bob Joyce documentary being verified. Well, haven't heard a thing about it in months now. What's going on with that? The Elvis Eyes, how can it not be, has 3,900 views. Wild new Bob Joyce video, 66,000 views. 66,000 views. Watch that one, everybody. Watch The Verdict, my most popular video, coming in at 250,000 views. Almost. We're not quite there yet. Someone talking about unfiltered Donna Presley responds to what you've always wanted to know. Well, I'll have to check that out. Someone named Eileen sent us that. I'll have to check that out. She, of course, I don't know if this is what you're referring to, Eileen, but she has recently said that that Vernon had his suspicions that Elvis was murdered. Last Saturday night, although I confused Billy with his son. Let me see here. Let me go to that. That's a live show. Was Elvis murdered? Danny Smith talks about that. Let's clear up false claims. Danny Smith says, absolutely not. Elvis was not murdered in his opinion, but he's not looking to have a contest with anybody across the pond. We can all believe what we want to believe, and he's not looking to fight with anybody, and I'm certainly not looking to fight anybody. There's room enough for us to look over something and come to our own opinions. You know, it's just that simple. So the Charlie Kirk tribute, and the second part of that video now, you say, forget Bob Joyce. It's got 1,400 views. And check that one out and see what we're talking about there. See what we're talking about. I believe that Elvis is very gratified that Priscilla saved Graceland. Grateful, okay. That Priscilla saved Graceland. Believe that he will always be passionate about his whatever. His home, right? Okay. Priscilla also said in the CBS interview, CBS This Morning with Lee Cowan, that she just had a really bad feeling about Michael Jackson, thought he was a trickster, and was not at all for the marriage of her and Michael. I don't think Elvis would have been either, because it was pretty much well known that Michael had serious issues even then. And I don't believe Elvis would have been for that. So again, thank you, Hockey92, for hitting the thanks button right there. Any amount will do, 99 cents, $1.99. It all helps with what we're working on now, which is the October 21st. October 21st. This helps me kind of deal with retirement that got smaller out of the blue, and you know, meet as many obligations as I can possibly make. Jack, the eyes of one Robert Wayne Joyce is not the eyes of Pastor Bob Joyce. The way you wrote that with putting Elvis's name in there twice is a little confusing to me. I just don't believe that Robert Wayne Joyce, if we're right in, well, you can look at him. You can look at him in 1970, whatever, 78, 79, 1980. Those are not Elvis eyes. They don't automatically happen later in life. Oh, you can look a little more like Elvis, and I believe he did. You can even alter your looks through surgery to look more like Elvis, but you're not going to look just like him. You're not going to copy those Elvis eyes. So Jupiter's Realm votes Elvis. Yes, I believe Elvis is alive and Bob Joyce is Elvis. Hello, lovely Rita. Rita Maid. Nice to have you here. Jack, I have heard vehicles registered to EP in Memphis, right? At Graceland, yeah. The address and Walina's legal name is Walina Presley. I've never heard that one, Carolyn Mullins. That's a new one, that her legal name is Walina Presley. So you have said something original tonight. No, I have never heard that before. So that's a new one. That's a new one. You did mean the 60s, okay, for that time when Elvis supposedly signed Bob Joyce on a poster. Glad you are here, Rita. Appreciate that very, very much. 68 watching right now, 53 likes. Elvis or not, Bob Joyce is the pastor I've been looking for. Well, that's good. That's good. So happy to hear that. So, well, we'll see. I'm curious, is the attendance going to start to come up to capacity? Nobody seems to know what happened to the Matt Joyce tribute to Elvis once a month. Did they feel that was too much of a hint? A bridge too far? A bridge too far? I don't know. Other than that, let's see. In Dexter news, Dexter has been renewed for multiple seasons. They're not going to do another season of Dexter New Blood, or First Blood, excuse me. So many different titles. They're not going to do another season of the prequel that starred, that was his name, Bruce. Wonderful, did a wonderful job as young Dexter, and Christian Slater as a younger version of Harry. Thing is, Christian Slater's getting older now, just like the actor who, once again in Dexter Resurrection, reprises his role as Dexter's dad. So I guess they figured, no, we'll stay away from that. And Dexter Resurrection, all 10 shows were great, wonderful, got huge ratings, and they'll start taping sometime in 2026, whether it be February, March, something like that. They're going to push the release back, though. Instead of a summer release, they're looking right now at a September release for the second season of Dexter. So it's a long time without Dexter Resurrection, but and then it's only 10 shows. So, it's worth the wait. That's all I can tell you. It's worth the wait. 10 minutes to midnight, my time, almost. Actually, 11:47. My clock's a little fast, but the computer clock says 11:47. But hello, replay crowd. Thank you for joining us for Worldwide Ramblings. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell. If you can, hit the thanks button for any amount. And if you don't find a thanks button here, you'll find it in another recent video. All goes into the same till, Lil. That was my mother's nickname, Lillian, or as some would call her Lily, some would call her Lil, and some would call her by her given name, Elizabeth. Never Liz, Elizabeth. Yeah. My mother was Elizabeth Mary, and my first wife was Mary Elizabeth. So there you go. There you go. Thanks again, everybody. Going to read a little scripture. Hope you like the artwork tonight. Very kind of pops out, very colorful. I don't know who painted that painting. It could have been Karen's daughter, but we're not sure. We'll have to investigate this more. And that new picture of the back of a girl in her beautiful fall dress. She's at the dance with her beautiful hat. That's from ShopRite. I just picked that up tonight for $1.49. And it works. It looks good, just like the ones of the flag do, I like it. Sometimes I go into ShopRite to buy groceries and I say, there's a YouTube bag. Or if I'm in Walmart, I say, there's a YouTube shirt. Not wearing a YouTube shirt tonight, just one that I thought went with the general backdrop. Pierogi Josie is here. What kind of pierogies do you like, Josie? I can do without the ones that have mashed potatoes in them, There's a pierogi shop. There's a number of them in Pennsylvania that all they do is make pierogies. There was one not far. It's just outside of Wilkes-Barre. And Polka Sean and Polka Norma stopped there on the way to see Jimmy Sturr in Wilkes-Barre. And they bought like 6 dozen pierogies, solid frozen, and kept them in the car. They forgot to bring their cooler, but it was cool enough outside. They figured they could get away with it, and because they were hard frozen, Jimmy Sturr returns to Wilkes-Barre on April 11th at the Mohegan Sun Casino. There's something special about the Mohegan Sun, or I should say in general, the Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania gigs. Sean and Norma will drive up and I'll hitch a ride. Karen and I will hitch a ride if all goes as planned. And, it's just a wonderful, wonderful time. They have a Ruth Chris Steakhouse there. Sean Hannity's favorite steakhouse. It's not cheap, but it's not terrible. We didn't eat there last time. Johnny Rockets is there. Other than that, the food there is not very good. But Ruth Chris Steakhouse, that would be nice. Come April, that would be nice. We'll see if it happens. I saw a video about back in the day, Elvis attended an Elvis lookalike contest and lost. How do we verify that, Eli All? Where would I look for that? Send me the link. That's what everybody says, right? Send me the link. Next month in Parsippany, New Jersey is the Chiller Theater. Morgan Fairchild has been added to the list. 2 huge stars coming this year. One being the one, the only, the music icon himself, Mr. Huey Lewis, will be there with several of the people that were in Back to the Future, just like he was for a brief time. And of course, his music was in Back to the Future. He will be there with the chap that played Marty McFly's brother, and I think it's girlfriend number 2 now. I vacillate. I got to look into this. It's either because, in Back to the Future 1, there was one actress that played his girlfriend. She wasn't available for the second one. So they used somebody else. One of those will be there, but the star attraction will be Huey Lewis. That's his songs have meant so much to me growing up. I've never heard a bad song from Huey Lewis. He's got hearing problems and what have you. He doesn't really record or do concerts anymore. He does sing a little bit, though, and that will be at Chiller Theater. But also a big draw for Chiller Theater will be Cousin Eddie's coming. Do I need to say any more? Independence Day as well. I think he was the one in the suicide mission at the end, right? I'm talking about Randy Quaid, of course, will be at Chiller Theater. If you want to stand on a line of 140 people and pay a decent amount, because Randy needs the money, folks, it's going to be about $100 and a quarter to get a picture and autograph with Randy Quaid, I would say. It's about what Mr. Shatner charges, but not because he needs the money, because he doesn't want a bazillion people on his line. But he yet likes to go to these kind of things. And he's always the biggest star there. And he gets the biggest line anyway, because he's William Shatner, 94 years old, and doing The Unexplained, which is one of my favorite shows. Anybody else love The Unexplained? Now they got The Unexplained Zone. He's got his own channel. Star Trek have that? I don't know. I don't think so. I think that's died down. I'm talking about the one he was in, of course, the first one. Yeah. They didn't pay him well enough then because, he ended up living in his truck after Star Trek ended in a messy divorce for a little while. Then it wasn't long before T.J. Hooker came along, and eventually he would play the great Denny Crane in Boston Legal. And of course, he's a very rich man today. So I'm glad it's fairly warm there, Carol Cook. I'm happy to see the warm weather back, and I appreciate everybody stopping by. I am a big fan of the German music, similar to polka. So come on, Neo, make the trip. 10-piece German band, and Jimmy Sturr and the orchestra, and Jack Willard will be there with Karen and Polka Sean and Polka Norma. Sean is not gay. He's not married to Norman. He's married to Norma. And terrific food, both German, Polish, and great desserts. So get on your phone and see how far is it from wherever you are to Pine Island, New York. You'd have a great time. That's on Sunday, October 12th. Come in on the Friday, the 10th or the 11th. All right. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? You're wondering, would I have you in the studio here for a broadcast? All my possible responses are being edited by the little voice in my head. So, but you know what, Jody? I think, as the cold weather moves in, I will see the problem with Karen is she just relies on the gravity heat. She doesn't want to run a space heater. So I say, come over here. If it's really cold, I got to run a space heater. I can't have just the heat that's coming from the vent that's coming from downstairs. I hate that. It's never enough, and I don't want to leave the door open, which gives a little more heat because I want some privacy, It's something I've wrestled with for 15 years, but I'm with Karen for the long haul. You don't wait till someone gets to the point where they need you the most and run out on them. And I love her. I mean, we have a different kind of relationship, and Lord knows, I'm not the portrait of a sinless man that always makes the right decisions to live with. I'm not that. But my intentions are good. Two different men, Robert Wayne Joyce and Pastor Bob Joyce, says Jane Justice, and I certainly agree with you. All right. Put on my Walmart's reading specs for this one. Still 71, it says watching. I'm a little suspicious that number hasn't changed. Looking at the New King James Version. Second Timothy chapter 3. But know this, in the last days perilous times will come. Here we are. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemous, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderous, without self-control, brutal, despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness but denying its power. Going up to chapter 4, verse 2. Preach the word. Be ready in season and out of season. Convince, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and teaching. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but according to their own desires, because they have itching ears that will heap for themselves. They will heap up for themselves teachers, and they will turn their ears away from the truth and be turned aside to fables. But you be watchful in all things, endure afflictions, do the work of an evangelist, fulfill your ministry. Everybody has a ministry. So thank you, everybody. Pray for Brenda Noyce, who'll have surgery next week. Pray for Adam Davidson, who keeps getting these wounds, that require staples. Second one, and he had a head injury, and he's had so many other physical ailments. Pray for Adam Davidson. Pray for Chris Starry. We'll be looking for more reports from Chris Starry. And pray for Marianne Rossi and all those unspoken needs as well. Please keep praying for Karen. She makes a healing recovery from this neck surgery. And all those that we don't know about, but God knows about each and every one. Pray for the protection of our leaders. Pray for the conviction of those that persecute. Remember, though, we're called to pray for those who persecute us. Love your enemies, and that is a tough thing to do. But pray and love, and prayer changes things. Prayer changes things. My name is Jack Willard. Thank you so much for watching Worldwide Ramblings. I can honestly say I've given you all I got tonight. We'll hopefully see you on Saturday night at 10 p.m. East Coast time for another edition of Worldwide Ramblings. But we could pop on anytime to pop off. So subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell. Bye-bye for now.